Good morning and welcome to Sofa Talk about childcare. Today we are going to be talking about something that comes through the front door, and that is going to be operational hours. Every daycare, childcare, and academy has different educational hours. Some open up at 6, some open up at 6:30, some open up at 7. Closing hours, some of them are open until 6, some are open up until 6:30, some close at 5:30. These are the operational hours of the average childcare daycare that is operating right now. The reason why childcare is open up at 6:30 is really for those parents that need to be to work at 7:30, that are really early in the morning. The reason why we open up at 6:30 is because we have an elementary school right next door to us that kids can be dropped off at 7:15, so that they get to school on time while parents are headed off to work. That is the operational hours of opening. Closing is 5:30 at my facility. The best decision I feel that I've ever made, or change that I've ever made, because when we were staying open until 6 o'clock, we had parents that would run late every day. And that meant that instead of us closing at 6, we were not closing until 6:05, 6:10, 6:15, 6:30 sometimes. And we wouldn't be getting home until 7. So that is a very long day for an individual working with 15 kids, 100 kids, 50 kids. That is a very long day. So we also have a cutoff time where kids need to be in preschool, in daycare, in academy by 9 o'clock. If they are not dropped off by 9 o'clock, then that means they are not attending for today. And the reason why we have a cutoff time is because it is a very disruptive time when classes are in session and you have a kid dropped off at 9:30, a kid dropped off at 10, a kid dropped at 10:30, a kid dropped off at 11. Because a new kid comes into the classroom, it's good morning, oh, Johnny's here, oh, Sam is here, oh, Sarah's here. It disturbs the class. It disturbs the educational process that is always already established in the classroom. So that is the reason why we have a 9 o'clock cutoff time. Now, if you have a doctor's appointment, we know that happens. If you have a dentist appointment, we know that happens. And yes, as long as you inform us, they can come after their doctor's appointment if it follows longer than 9 o'clock. We allow the teachers to know, we allow the kitchen to know, so that we know that this child is coming and we are ready for that child. Very important. But that is the reason why we do have a 9 o'clock cutoff time. Now, yes, we do have a 5:30 closing time. And the reason why I say it is the best thing that I have done is because when a child is picked up at 5:35, 5:45, it still allows me to get home by 6 or 6:15 and not 7. An hour difference on my life is huge. And I think as parents, going to work, you do worry about that distance. How far are you losing? The hour time that you lose in just traveling to get to work and to get home. It is time that is lost. And so I have to say 6:30 to 6:30 centers, those are long hours for centers. Those teachers are tired. I promise you, that director, that assistant director, they're tired. Those centers that are 6:30 to 6 or 6 to 6, those are still long hours. They're still long hours. So I just say to you as parents and to the Sofa Talk for today is that be mindful of what those teachers are going through and how long those hours are. And that when they're not picked up on time, that we are still waiting and our mind shifts to a different, it's 5:30. Now we could relax and now we could think about self. I do say, there are a lot of times that kids are left behind. And we have to address it. We have to address it. That parents don't communicate with each other and say, who's picking up? So nobody comes. And then we sit there and we call the mom. And the mom says, oh, dad. And then I call the dad. And the dad says, oh, mom. And we're like, okay. Meanwhile, the child is still sitting here and I'm exhausted and I'm tired and I'm ready to go home for today. I will say that this is a crucial time when a lot of situations happen. Not too long ago, there was a situation in the news. I talk about it and I will talk about it. A child got left behind in the building. It's not the first time. It's not the second time. It's not the third time. It's not the fourth time. When children are left behind in buildings, normally has to do with a lack of someone being exhausted. And 9 out of 10, it's because someone was running late. And the person who was left in charge is exhausted and forgets that this child is following them, or they place this child in their office to say, hey, I need to make sure the building is all locked up so that when your mom does arrive, we could leave. They forget, go pick up their stuff and walk out, and forget that that child was still in their care. These are when situations happen. So that's why we ask parents to please drop off at a good hour and a good time, and make sure that you pick up and that you have enough time to pick up, and that you communicate to each other in the morning time who's picking up and who's dropping off. The reason why we have the operation hours is because, let me tell you, if we didn't have operation hours and we told parents, oh, your child could be in care for 8 hours a day, let me tell you, parents would drop off at 6 o'clock in the morning and won't pick up till 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Parents will drop off at 5 o'clock in the morning and not pick up till 6 o'clock in the afternoon. We see it every day. We see it every day. And you know, I hate to say it. I hate to say it, but it's the children with behaviors that are left at the facility from 6:30 in the morning till 5:30 in the afternoon. And that it is what it is. I am here to speak truth. I am here to educate parents on what truly goes on in this daycare, childcare academy world. And this is what it is. And we would like to say to parents, like, you only have one child that may be high functioning, and we have 15. Some of the classrooms have 10. Some of the classrooms have 8. And we say, you know, let us educate them for 8 hours while you're at work. And then let's tap out. They are your children, and we need you to come and pick them up in a manner of time, so that you know there are certain kids that when they're not picked up at a certain time, let me tell you, they start crying. They get upset when they see other parents picking up. They don't really know why their parent hasn't picked up yet. This is part of the process that we go through. And then we as providers, this is when we become a parent. And, you know, and I said it before, we're plumbers, we're doctors, we're parents. All in all, we just have to say that respecting the hours and having some type of courtesy when it comes to your child being dropped off and your child picking up is very, very important. So it's important to know the rules and the policies of your school, of your center. You know, when your drop-off time is, when's the latest you could drop off a child, and their pickup time. This process is to help your child have a successful life when they start kindergarten, because there is a drop-off time. There's a tardiness time. And there's a time when we have to count them absent. Those absences are a count against your child. Being to school on time is so important. It's so important. And the little things to you that may not matter, they also matter to your kid. I had a kid the other day ask its mom, will you please drop me off because we're having sausages and eggs for breakfast and I need to be first in line. That's so important to that child. And that day, that parent was just running a little bit late. And they were like, don't drop me off at daycare. Please take me to school so I could get in first in line, so I could get my sausage and I could get my egg, because this is the day that I eat. I don't eat on the days that there's cereal or there's muffins or there's, oatmeal. This is the day that's important to me. So I come to you today for Sofa Talk and talk about the hours of operations and ask for parents to, think about it. I hope you learned something about operational hours and why we do what we do. And having that cutoff time why we set our hours at 6:30 or 6 o'clock, because 6 o'clock we still have teachers in there getting things together, turning the lights on, getting the AC on, getting classrooms set up, because when these kids come in at 6:30, they're ready to go. They are ready to go. And that's why we say give us some time to set up and be prepared for the children. So that's your opening. Our cutoff time, 9 o'clock. We need to see the children in care before 9. After 9 o'clock, they cannot be dropped off. And you have to abide by the rules and the regulations. That's why we have the stop signs. Run through a red light and see what happens. There's always consequences. So at this time, I have to say to directors and I have to say to owners, you are allowed to disenroll a child or a family that cannot abide by your rules. You are allowed. It is better to disenroll than it is to forget a child in your building. It is better to disenroll. Hear me. It is better to disenroll a family that cannot follow your rules and regulations than it is for you to be exhausted and tired and forget a child in your building unsupervised. I stand on that. I have been in this field since I was 16. Since I was 16, I have been doing this over 30 some years. Over 30 some years. And I tell you, when I worked for somebody else, I was not allowed to disenroll unless I had a reason. Now that I own my own, I take it very serious. When you do not abide by my rules and my regulations, I give you a 2-week notice. Find yourself somewhere that will work for you. If my hours of operation do not work for you, why should you subject me to your bad behavior? Because you can't get off. You want my education, but you cannot abide by my rules. It's unacceptable. And I have to say at this time, owners, listen to your directors. When there is a parent that is not picking up on time and it happens more than 3 times, that parent needs to find another place that stays open later. Every shoe size does not fit every single child. It doesn't. They all have different sizes. They all wear different shoes. So I hope you've learned something today and understanding just the reason why we have different hours of operation, what works for you, and why we have the rules and the policies that we have. At this time, I want to say thank you for coming and having some sofa talk with me in regards to the operational hours of daycare, childcares, and academies. I hope you've learned something today. Have a wonderful day.